Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another garage review. We're in for episode 4, and we're joined here from a submission from Frank from Munich, Germany. So thank you so much, Frank, for submitting your garage. Sorry it took a while for me to make another episode of garage review. I just had a lot of different things on my plate and a lot of different videos to upload, especially the whole Rebel Racing thing. So that took some time off my plate as well, but I'm back with another episode, and what do you guys think? Brand new microphone. I think it sounds great. One of the main reasons why I got this new microphone is because I started a new podcast with one of my best friends back home in Seattle. So if you guys want to check that out too, that's going to be down in the description below. Anyway, starting off, we're going to have one garage today, Frank's. He will be the first garage, and of course I will give a Blossom score at the end to see how he stands with all the other cars. Now, this garage was given to me about 2.5 weeks ago, so I'm sure there are going to be some changes to it. So Frank, if you do find yourself watching this video, do let me know what the changes are. But I'm going to be just basing the Blossom score off what I see here. Also, guys, if your video is not featured in this episode, that's alright. Make sure to just continue submitting your videos, continue submitting your videos of your garage in the description below. There's going to be a document where you can just sign up and put your garage in there, especially for those wondering how you can get your garage on my channel as well. Anyway, let's start off with Frank's garage with the commons, and over here I've already written down some notes, but we're going to go through really quickly what we can see. First thing I see here are the 3 Honda Beats. That's always nice to see. Honda Beats, one of the best cars in the game. The Citroen Mahari as well, the 4x4. Quite the meme, but also very, very useful because it's like the only common with off-road capabilities. Another really key car, and once again, even if your garage is not featured in this episode, you could watch it just to have, a lot of points and things that you can take notes of to maybe also strengthen your own garage. So the first thing I want to talk about here is the Pontiac 6000 STE all-wheel drive. This car is actually very, very impressive. 80 handling, 4-wheel drive, 0 to 60 of under 9 seconds for a common, and medium ground clearance. It's actually very impressive for an RQ5. So if anyone doesn't have that, I would really recommend getting that car. The Austin Ambassador as well, one of the best Austins in the game. I like that car. Followed by that, another key car is the Renault Fuego Turbo. That's always a good one. I think it has pretty good MRA, but also the 6.90 to 60 makes it very appealing, and 71 handling. Other key commons I see here is the Mercedes-Benz 600, as well as the Ford Focus Coupe Cabriolet at 85 handling, and 9.90 to 60 as well. And that's just about it for the common, so this is what I have in my notes. Some cars that I would like you to maybe invest in and check out, Frank, is the GMC Caballero and the BMW 2800 CS. I would say really focus on that 2800 CS because it's performance tires, it's rear-wheel drive, and it's also medium ground clearance for a common car. And as you guys know, rear-wheel drive performance tire cars are pretty hard to find for the common range. So really do look out for that BMW. I use it a lot. It's good for city streets. It's a really solid car. So moving on to uncommons here. I have 3 things noted down, so we're just going to look through the whole list again. And obviously, guys, if I have your garage featured, this isn't the first time I'm looking at your garage when I record. In fact, I've probably already seen it a couple times, just so I know your garage a little bit, so I know what points to talk about. So first thing I want to talk about here is the Chevrolet 454 SS. It's nice to see that you have this maxed out. It's actually a car I don't have in my own garage, but I really want. I just haven't gotten around to actually getting it. 5.90 to 60, 75 handling, and high ground clearance. It's a pretty good car, especially for kind of like dry hill climbs and stuff like that, which I know it's a really niche category, but sometimes it might save your life. So that's a really good car. Would really like to invest in that myself. 2 Renault Twizy F1s. You can never go wrong. And first thing I talked about here is Max that Nissan, the Nissan Patrol. There are not a lot of uncommon cars where it has all surface or off-road capabilities for the uncommon range. Nissan Patrol is one of them, so I would really focus on maxing that out. I had another Nissan Patrol back in PL9 German Renaissance, which was RQ10 all-surface, but that got upgraded to uncommon, not uncommon, rare D. So don't have that anymore. Just have my K5 Blazer. That's a really nice one as well. The Chevrolet S10 Blazer Extreme 6.20 to 60, 82 handling. And let's see what else we got going on here. Yep, just two more cars to talk about. The first one here is right here, the Subaru Jet C. I don't know how good the Subaru Jet C is compared to the Subaru Brat. And what are these Subaru names? Brat and Jet C? I don't know. But I would focus on one Subaru Jet C. I maxed one out yesterday, actually. The main reason why I'm talking about the Subaru Jet C now at this point and why it's so important is because the weekend challenge that's coming up on the weekend of November the 15th and 16th is probably going to be Subaru. And as we know how weekend challenges go, rarity levels are usually quite low. So having a maxed out Jet C and a Brat will go a long way for you. It's nice to see you have the Corrado 16V as well. That's a really great car. And the last uncommon I would say that you can focus on is, I just found out you have an Indy over there. I love that Indy. It's not the best. It's good for test bowls and 1 miles, but that's it. So I wouldn't really focus on that. But what I really want to focus on here is the Mazda RX7. The Mazda RX7 is actually a very just good grippy car. Max it out, it hit about 86 handling, and it has standard tires as well. So it's a pretty good all-rounder. It's not going to be as good as the Yunus Roadster, but the RX-7 is still a pretty reliable car. And I think those are all the notes I have for uncommon. The Chevrolet Volt is a pretty good one too. So you could start thinking about that. So moving on to rares, I have two cars here, both in the RQ14 range. One is in 13, and we'll be seeing it pretty soon. That is the Mazda MX5, not the 2005 version, but the older one, I think. Have we passed it? I don't think we passed it. The Volkswagen Jetta as well, the one from 2019. That's not a bad car. You could start thinking about that. And when I was looking through this garage the first time, and as you can see here, you have a Renault Safran being maxed out. I actually realized that this car, or this garage, has a lot of French cars. I don't know what I feel about that, but I'm going to not be unbiased, so, you know, it has a lot of French cars, is all I'm going to say. The Mazda MX5, this one right here from 1989. I would focus on maxing that out. It hits about 87 handling, and it has a pretty low 0 to 60 along with standard tires. One of the main competitors this car usually beats is the Yunus Roadster, if it's not a G-Force. And a lot of people have the Yunus Roadster. Even I myself have 3 of them maxed out. It's just such a good car. But if you ever find yourself in events with higher RQ caps, this wouldn't be a bad car to focus on. So let's continue moving on. The next rare I want to focus on, and I see a lot of maxed out cars. One interesting thing I saw was a Dodge Grand Caravan. You have that maxed out. Tell me why. I'm interested to know. I maxed mine out, but that's purely because I love Dodge. I'm not even sure if that's a useful car or not. It does have the 4-wheel drive standard tire capability though, so I guess it does have some usefulness to it. But the last car I really want to focus on maxing out, I don't think we passed it yet, right here, yep, is the Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Jeff Gordon Edition. That's a great car, 86 handling, 5.80 to 60. I use that thing all the time. It doesn't have the best win ratio, but it's a good car to have to kind of just make you lose by 50, like strategical losses. So that's not a bad car to have. Anyway, moving on to super rare category. The first one I want to talk about is the Fiat 124 Spider, as we see over here, or the Abarth 124 Spider. It looks like to me that in the RQ16 range, you don't have a lot of twisty orientated cars with performance tires. So the Abarth 124 Spider will be a good bet for you. It hits about 92 handling, which is actually very strong for an RQ16. Other things I have is just 2 cars that I've realized you don't have in your garage, which you might want to invest in for the future. So if you ever get these cars, just look out for them and make sure you lock them. The first one is the Mazda RX7, the one for super rare. And the next one is the Lamborghini LMO2, the Rambo Lambo. Really good off-roader for hill climb in the super rare range. It actually beats some ultra rares in the hill climb as well, because maxed out 996, the LMO2 hits 5.50 to 60. Now, moving on to ultra rares. Ultra rares made me kind of cringe a bit. I don't want to be mean or anything, but there's just one really fundamental mistake I see a lot of newer players have, and I'm guessing you're a bit on the newer side with 3,690 trophies. I see a lot of 1-star ultra rares, and you know, like the Peugeot is a 1-star ultra rare that you don't need, or the Alfa Romeo Giulia Veloce, 1 star as well. You have the Porsche Cayman, 1 star. The Mercedes AMG SLK32 at 1 star. There are just not a lot of good cars here. You don't have a lot of okay, not a lot of good cars is not the right way to say it. You have a lot of underwhelming Ultras that you have invested in, which you didn't need to. Honestly, like all the cars I mentioned before that are 1 star, which I kind of cringe at, those cars could all be fused material. No, the Mini is actually pretty useful, so I'm not going to call out the Mini. But the Porsche 911 Carrera 4, for example, you have it at 1 star. I don't think it's really good. I know it has 4-wheel drive, but it's just not the best, and I wouldn't really focus on that, so you could even fuse it. So I would say for the future, if you get an Ultra and you don't want it, if you don't think you're going to max out, if you don't think you're going to max it out, you know, a really easy philosophy I like to follow, or theory, is 3-star or nothing, right? Don't go for the 1 star. You're just wasting about 20k in upgrades, or like 15k or something like that. But definitely all the cars I just named out in your Ultra range, fuse them all if you're looking for fuse for your epics. And there are some really good epics in your garage, so I would really consider thinking about that. So the first one is the Porsche 911 Carrera. This one's not fuse material. This one is actually one I want you to max out. That's a very useful car, that Porsche. And the other one is the Lancia 037 Rally. You don't have the Porsche 924 or the Ford Escort Rally for that matter, so the Lancia 037 Rally is your best bet. And looking at your garage, besides that Infiniti FX35 Frank, you don't really have a lot of off-roader Ultras, which is really dangerous for any off-road event, period. So I would say, first things first, focus on the 037 Rally, and kind of robust your off-roader Ultras a bit. And now moving on to epics. Now this part, your epics made my jaw drop. First of all, you have the RSR, which is a key epic. But wait for it. Alright, I'm going to stop you right there. Now look at the screenshot. You can't really see all 8 cars perfectly, but oh my goodness, you got lucky with your epics, Frank. You got so lucky. So many key cars here. In fact, 7 out of 8 of them are key cars in my opinion. You have the X6. I think that's the X6 or the X5. I don't know. You have the BMW M3 CS. You have the Cadillac CT6, the Superlight, the Lingenfelter, the Furai, and the SRT Hellcat. Options. Obviously, you know, Top Drives is a marathon, not a sprint. And at the end of the day, you want to have all these epics maxed out. But I understand you can't do that. So what I would say is, since you already have a maxed out Superlight, you shouldn't focus on the Furai because you already have the Superlight. So the Furai isn't a priority, but it should be on the list for future things you want to max out because it's such a good car. Next is you have the M3 CS maxed out. And the M3 CS is a good all-rounder epic, so it's not going to beat any Hellcats in any drag, but it'll beat the Hellcat in basically anything besides drag. And you'll only lose to the Hellcats in the drag by like 50 to 60. So then again, your Charger SRT Hellcat is not #1 priority. So what I really look into here is either max out your Cadillac CT6 or your BMW X6. If I were you, I'd go for the CT6. Just my personal opinion, but the CT6 or the X6, you can't go wrong with either one, but I would go for the CT6. Last but not least are your legendaries. So you don't have a lot of legendaries, you have 3, but that's fine. Honestly, 1 legendary per 1,000 trophies is like a good way to gauge how much you should have. I don't know. I have 23 legendaries, I think, and I have like 29,000 trophies. So maybe I'm under average. I don't know. But it's pretty nice for what you have. I mean, it could be worse. You have 4 legendaries. I didn't see the Mercedes SLS until now. But what I would really focus on upgrading is that McLaren 12C. Now, I know you're thinking, why don't you invest in the 650S instead of the 12C? Here's the thing. Everybody has the 12C, and you want your 12C to be better than others. So if I were you, I'd 363 the 12C. And then the 650S, not everybody has the 650S, so that thing's an advantage of its own. So yeah, if you have a 360 12C, combine that with the 650S, you'd be pretty strong in British events. And you have that Superlight. Honestly, it looks like maybe one of your stronger suits right now in your garage are British cars. And if you really want to focus on a single country, that might be one to start off with. If not, you could go with the German route with the M3 CS maxed out. You could max out the BMW X6 as well. And then if you really want to go uber German, you can also put an upgrade into your 911 GT3 or the AMG SLS Black Series. So Once again, I would say, it's a solid garage, especially common to rare. I see a lot of trend where every garage I max out, they have strong cars from between common to rare, which is strange because when I started out playing, I didn't give a single damn about that rarity. So it's interesting to see that other people actually do care. So starting off with the Blossom score, in terms of uniqueness, definitely there were specks of specialness, I guess, in the garage, like the Caravan and the 3 Honda Beats, but it wasn't anything too amazing that was unique or different. So for that, I'm just going to give it a 5. I was going to say 6. Next is patriotism. Now, I didn't see a lot of cars from a single particular country. It was a good variety of anything. I did see a couple French cars, like quite a bit of French cars, and towards the end we saw a bit of British cars and German cars, but once again, nothing too special that would really make me think, oh, this guy personally likes this car from this country, so I'm going to give you a 5. Next is character. It's a solid garage. It really is a solid garage, but once again, nothing too special. I really want to give you a 5, but because you have 3 Honda Beats, there's some character there, so I'm going to give you a 6, which gives you a total of 16, right? Yeah, 16. Next is the top drive scale. So starting off the scale, it's a decent sized garage. For a less than 4,000 trophy garage, is actually quite big, and for that I'm going to give you an 8. Moving on to strength, once again, in the lower rarities of your garage, it's very strong, but when you move towards the higher ranks, it's kinda medium at that point, not super strong, so I can give you an 8 or a 7. I want to give you a 6, but realistically I think it'll be a 5. Moving on to versatility. Now, although your garage isn't like the overall situation, it's not very strong, I would say your versatility is a little better because you kind of have cars from all walks of life, if that makes sense. I've seen off-roaders, I've seen standard tires, performance tires, 4-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, all that, so I'm going to give you a 7. But moving on to the lethal level, right, you have a good versatility, you have all these cars of different, I guess, specs, but not a lot of them are maxed out. One of the most, I think, concerning things is your ultra-rare category, where you don't have any off-roaders that are maxed out in the ultra-rare range, and for that I have to give you 5 because that isn't very lethal at all. But once again, potential is where I'm most lenient with the scores, and honestly, your garage doesn't have as good of a foundation as other garages I've seen so far, but that's not really your fault. I just see not a lot of key cars from cars that are ultra rare and below. However, you have all the key cars for Epic. So, pros and cons there, but it doesn't deserve the highest of scores, and I'm going to give it a 7, which gives a total score of 13, 20, 25, 32. Okay, my math, guys. My math is so bad. 32 plus 16, that gives us 48. And that is the final score. So once again, you find yourself in the middle of the table. You're not the lowest score, but you're not the highest score either. But I have to say it's really solid. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's episode of Garage Review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you like the new mic. And I'll see you all next time. Blossom out.